Hello again, and welcome to the Corner Studio here in my garage. And I can see from our high-tech teleprompter, which I typically hold up at the start of the program, it is indeed time for another Friday evening camera talk. This one is number 124. Tonight's working title is Am I a Canon Guy Now? And I have indeed pre-ordered a Canon camera, so we're going to park that later in the program. We haven't given up on Nikon. We're still, our core here on the show is Nikon, but it doesn't mean that you can't own other stuff as well. We are shooting tonight on the Nikon Z9 with a 24-120 lens. That's our custom here in the studio. We got so much to get through tonight. One of the things that we'll talk about is the Leofoto BV-15 fluid head versus the BV-10 fluid head. And I don't know what else. There's so much on here. When I held it up, you must have seen there was a lot of notes. We've also got the ZR here on the table. And I'll say this proof positive when you're kind of peeved with the camera. Don't do a segment on it, which is what happened last week. I kind of made my peace with the ZR, and I'll tell you about that. I tell you what, let's take a quick break here. And we'll get back and we'll just start working our way through some of this stuff. All right, so for the break between segments, you saw that I used a picture of the Nikon ZR on one of my overhead cameras. And this is essentially how I've tried to make peace with this camera, is thinking what is a great use for the ZR and working backwards from there to see if it can fulfill that use, then what other uses could it expand to? And I've put probably my least used lens on here, the 14-30, the ZR with the small rig handle. It goes now onto the overheads, and I set it up like this with a nice big screen. And I'm finding it makes a great overhead camera. I can shoot the lens you know, either as a full frame camera or in DX mode. This would get me 21 to 45 millimeters, you know, in full frame equivalent, using it that way. And I'm finding it's plenty good enough for an overhead camera. And the microphone, my sense of it is that, you know, maybe this is a better mic for some of my art videos, like when I'm, you know, doing arts and crafts out here or an oil painting or whatever. And I can just pop this thing on, and it's got its own little lens case that it can travel around in the sack here. So, you know, the neoprene sack, this is by Built. I think they used to be called Built New York. Just a relatively cheap neoprene bag that I bought a few years ago. It's a lunch bag, and I just carry it back and forth between the house and the studio that way. So I'm re-auditioning this camera and trying to stay positive about it. If it ends up in a trade pile in 3 months or 6 months or whatever, if I you know, come out and shoot a Friday evening camera talk and I say it's gone away, you'll know why. But I don't feel like I got a pile on with this thing. But I do feel like this aeromonik, I'm going to talk about that. You see I'm wearing one of my older versions, and I had charged this one overnight, and I was going to use it out in the studio today. And you see, well, it's showing 3 dots. It was showing 4 dots a little while ago when I opened the lid on it. I don't know if it's not taking a charge correctly or what, but you can see it's got some power. But the one, you know, that you plug into the camera, the receiver, I guess it is, I can't get it to turn on. And I had, you know, it's still not turning on. I'm pressing the on button. I had the USB cable plugged into it directly here before I started the show for like a half hour to see if I could get it to wake up. And I can't seem to get it to wake up. So I guess the thing has just died. But I like Ceramonic products, and you've seen me use them for several years here on the channel, but I guess I'm looking for something else. I'm going to try another brand. I'm going to do something different with the audio soon. And I'm not I'm not just looking to kick them because I still like the shotgun mics, the V-Mic Mini 2s. I've praised those so many times on the channel for what you pay, what you get. But I have these Saramonic lav mics. I had some extras just, you know, and you can see that the twist tie from this being new hasn't even been taken off. So I've got some that are stored and new. And I was using this one for, you know, I pulled it out. It was just like this like a month ago, maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And I unfurled it. I started using it. And now it's turned in some kind of crackly audio. I took it out here and I was using it with, I think, this set of mics here. And I went in, looked at the stuff on the computer after I'd spent the time shooting a video, and crackly audio, and I think it was coming from this cord, because when I tested the, you know, the wireless mic afterwards, no problem with just the mic by itself like this. So even the lav mic just seems like that should be bulletproof there, a lav mic. You plug them in and you get better audio, but I seem like I'm being fought by my audio equipment lately. But anyhow, let's move this thing along. We'll take a break here again and we'll be right back. All right, so I've kind of got out of the way and put a little more light on these two. You can see the BV-15s on this side. The newer BV-10 that I just picked up is over here. I actually paid $249 for the BV-10 here a couple of weeks ago. The BV-15, which I bought back in, according to my notes here, March of 2025, I paid $214 for it. So the bigger one with more capability actually cost me less money back about a year ago. Now this one is almost 3 pounds. This one is 1.5 pounds. So you got, you know, this one's twice the weight of this one. You're saving some weight if you can go with the smaller one. Now this one, according to my notes here, is a 22-pound capacity. This one's an 11-pound capacity. I have used the BV-15 out in the field a number of times with the Z9, which is shown here with the 400 4.5 lens on it. It's a perfect setup for that. We have used it also with the Z9 and the 600mm lens. No problems. One of the features that I like about this is that you've got this Arca plate is got a thumb screw here which tightens it in secure. That's not going to come undone accidentally. You've also got the ability to tighten your pan down here with this kind of more precise you know, wheel. And of course you've got a fluid drag control on this one, which is not part of the features on the BV-10. But I like this. It's worth the wait to carry it out in the field, and it handles all of our bigger rigs, the Z9 with the 600 being the biggest thing that we have and would use on it now. Now the BV-10, it was bought more as a portable rig, and I think it fulfills that function nicely. You see it here with the Z5 II. That's the 24-70 version 2 lens. I've had the 28-400 on here, and that's fine. So I've had the Z8 on the BV-10. We've got a couple of decks here that I use for birding, and I've just kind of casually tested the Z8 on the BV-10, and it does fine. The thing that I would keep in mind though is this is a smaller fluid head, and I kind of like the feel of a smaller camera like the Z5 II on it. Another thing is, if you were carrying this out in the field, you saw this flip lock, how easily it came undone, and I have to say that, you know, a branch off of a tree or maybe a strap that's on a camera bag or something could catch this, and potentially your camera that you're using in here could come out of it. Now, I selected this knowing that it had this fast release feature on it. And I was content to put cameras at the price tier of the Z5 II in here, but I'm not sure that I want to put my Z8, Z9 with a more expensive lens at risk out in the field when just an accidental click and this camera, it could come out of there with this flip lock lever. But overall, I like this. It was bought for a purpose, which is predominantly to use kind of a smaller camera with it and have a little more portability. And you know, it's a quality build, and I think it's going to fulfill that function nicely. So so far so good. I'm really rather pleased with the BV-10. Anyhow, back to our main segment. Okay, so I think I mentioned at the start of the show tonight that the working title might be, Am I a Canon Guy Now? I kind of off and on always have been one, and we've got to turn the clock back decades here, but I've talked about in previous years on the program how I started out using the Nichromat gear that my father had. That was as a kid, literally, and by the time I was an older teenager, and you know, from odd jobs and gifts and whatever, getting your own money, the first camera I ever bought with my own money was a Canon. It was an AE1, and I think it came with like a, you know, a kit lens. It was like a 50mm 1.8 or something, but I used the AE1 for years, and when the wife and I met later in college, and we finally, after we finished and started having some money, we were on a path, a trajectory with Canon gear, and we stayed with Canon for, geez, 3.5 decades maybe. So I guess it's fair to say that I've been a Canon guy in years past, but what I've actually bought, and I don't have it yet, I've just put a deposit down on it, is the G7X Mark III. I think a while back, maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago, I pointed out that Canon was producing a 30th anniversary version of that. It's quite pricey, $1,299. The regular non-anniversary version, which has the same guts in it, 1-inch sensor, basic 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor. It's got a zoom lens that's 24 to 100 in 35mm equivalent. It's a lot less. It's $880, so I'm buying one of those. And off and on for years, I have just carried some version of the PowerShot in my pocket, just to take photos, quick video, that kind of thing. But I've got another one on order, $880 plus tax. I'll certainly be showing it off on the channel when it gets in, and we'll do a deep dive into its capabilities. I mean, we're looking at the Z5 II here on the table. The PowerShot G7X3 is going to be a lot less capable, obviously, than the Z5 II, but a lot more carryable in different circumstances. So I'm kind of hoping to, this is a non-EVF point-and-shoot camera, by the way. In fact, I tell you what, we'll take a quick break here. I'll do a screenshot of the black and silver trim one that I'm buying, and I'll park another screenshot of the 30th anniversary edition right behind it. So we'll take a look at those. We'll be right back. So there's been a lot of talk on different channels about the cost of storage cards for cameras, not just CF Express B cards, which I'm very fond of, but also SD cards have gone up, it seems like. And I'll give you a particular example here. Back in October 2025, I bought a 512 gigabyte pro-grade CF Express B card for the Nikon ZR and paid $190 for it. I just looked that up, and I've got a screenshot of it here, which we'll take a look at. That same card's now $340. So when CF Express B cards first came out, they were pretty expensive. The price started going down, down, down. Now they have shot up again. So I got one more screenshot here that will do, and I'm going to kind of introduce this as a workaround possibly to more expensive storage options. Alright, so we were indeed just looking at a screenshot for micro SD card, and I have said in the past that I don't like working with micro SD cards, but I have one here that I've been using with the Z5 II. It was originally bought when we bought the ZR. I wasn't enthusiastic about trying to take this little card in and out of the ZR all the time. But we parked one in there just to have a spare card if we forgot the CF Express B card or if it filled up. But if you just leave these guys in the adapter carriage here and use them like they were just a regular SD card, it's a lot less painful. And that was a 512 gig card that we just parked here in the Z5 II that was in the ZR. But I have recently bought a couple of micro SD cards, and I just find that the price seems like it's kind of on them staying tamped down a little bit. So it is a possible workaround, and it is an economical card if you're at the point where you were thinking about leaping into more expensive, faster, full-size SD cards or CF Express B cards, and the prices have kind of overtaken you. You know, take a step backwards maybe and do what I'm doing, which is basically using a decent quality micro SD card and just using it like it was a regular SD card. But anyhow, want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We sure do hope to see you again soon in another video. So till then, take care.